Brian France, everyone. We're going to kick it off. Brian's going to say a couple words, and then we're going to throw it around for some questions here for the crew. All right? There we go.
Well, you know we're in a youth movement, right? On the track and off the track, so I brought my little boy down to get him started and help drive that. He's 6 years old. He's a big Joey Logano fan, so Luke is here with us. If you want to take a couple of questions for him on how we're doing the youth movement, I'm happy to do that later on. And all kidding aside, obviously we had a big announcement last week, last week with, or this week, excuse me, with Dale Jr. And just some words about that. Obviously I did a statement, but you know, he's meant a lot to this sport in many ways, and on and off the track, and not just his popularity and whatever, but the carrying on the Earnhardt name in such a good way that he was always competitive on the track, always raced at a high level, and always worked with NASCAR, to make the sport better, just like his father did. That's not always the case with drivers who come in. Some of them just drive the car, and that's what they do. And Dale was Dale Jr. was quieter about that. But nonetheless, that was important to him to always give his input in a quiet way, but we always listened to him. And the other thing I'll just mention on the top here is, obviously, we're also in a transition with many drivers that have retired or moved on in the last 4 or 5 years, or 2 or 3 years, excuse me, that were racing at a high level, whether it be Jeff Gordon or Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards unexpectedly. That have decided that their time is, and I said this a long time ago, I could see around the corner that careers were not going to last as long as they did in previous decades with NASCAR. And the reason is, the demands are high, the opportunity to leave a race car and do something else because of the financial situation that the drivers are fortunate enough to be in, allows them to pick and choose their career a little bit differently. So there's a lot of different reasons, that in the future, that age, in my view, will get lower and lower. Used to be you did race till you were in your late 40s, maybe even over 50, and that's just not what you're seeing today. So with that, I'm happy to take a few questions. And one last thing. I always want to thank you guys and gals for this is a tough sport to cover, right? It's multiple days away. It's not one game. It's multiple races. It's a lot of work to cover this sport. And I know Eric and Brent and our entire team. Thanks each and every one of you for helping us tell the NASCAR story. Thank you.
All right, let's throw it around to a couple questions here. Jim Utter. Jim, you want to go first here?
JimUtterMotorsport.com. When you look around all the national series, what is your assessment of the drivers that you have? Do you feel that there is a solid group to kind of carry on the next generation, much like Luke's favorite driver, Joey Logano?
Well, if you look back in our history, we always tend to see drivers in waves move in one direction. And so it's really not uncommon to have 3, 4, 5, of your top drivers, exit for different reasons within a short period of time, 2 years, whatever it is. The good news is, and you guys have seen the talent pool that's coming, and it is deep. It's deep, and so we're excited about that. You've seen Kyle Larson have his moment. He's going to have a lot of moments as he goes on. And I think the big thing is and I always tell them this, they got to compete at a high level, and they can't be humble about that. They can't be humble as they race out there with veteran stars who they looked up to. They can't be humble to say, I'm happy to be here. They're here for a reason. They're very, very good, and they stay for a reason, meaning that you got to compete at a high level. So I'm excited at our pool, both in the Monster Energy Series and also the Xfinity Series. So I think both are working the way we want them to work. But that by the way, that'll take a little time. You're not going to this sport. You're not going to come in and most sports you're not going to. There's exceptions. But Jeff Gordon did that when he came in. He came in, won a race or two, maybe one in his first year. And then in the second year, sophomore year, won a number of races. So that's unusual. So especially now it's more competitive. So the drivers are going to take some time to find their way and competing at that high level. And then what we'd like to see always is their personalities, come out, their competitive zeal come out, and that takes time too. They got to develop a comfort zone. I can tell them whatever I can tell them, and I always do. But they've got to figure that out on their own.
Zach next, and Brandt after that.
Zach Halbert, NASCAR.com. Brian, you mentioned the challenge for the young drivers. Is the biggest challenge, is it going to be on-track performance, or is it connecting with the fans? Because you did reference it's not going to happen overnight. Is it on-track performance or connection with fans through social media or other means?
Nothing happens in sports without competing at a high level and winning, and the only thing in our sport is it does take a little time. You just because the leap from whatever series that you're in particular if you're not in the Xfinity series, you come from somewhere else, that's a real leap. And it's just so competitive that it takes time. But in the end, they've got to win and compete at a high level, and it starts there. And hopefully their personalities and the things that that will be appealing to our fan base will resonate. But it always does. Just just different times or play out differently.
We got Brandt next, followed by Tom Jensen.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. Changing topic slightly, how good a job has Monster done segueing in as the title sponsor, and has their role become different or even more important as they try to gain that younger fan base that you need to watch these younger drivers that are maybe rushing in to replace these retiring stars?
I'd say in one word, great. I think that they are bringing what we hope they would bring, that sort of youthful, kind of edgy. They do it in entertainment. If you're out in California, massive crowd watching some of the things they were doing, interactive with our fan base. And then digitally, socially, they're one of the leading companies in the country at how to manage that, the new frontier. And so on all fronts, they, and by the way, doing this, they've never had a property at this level. So they're doing this all in the first couple of months. So, give them by next year, and we didn't put the deal together until a little later. I think they're just great. So we're excited to have them.
Jensen, FoxSports.com. We know the role the driver council has played in recent years in having more influence. How much are you going to rely on guys like Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon and the recently retired guys for input? And secondly, we've had a lot of changes. Are there other things you guys are looking at maybe for next year and down?
One of the things that, Tom, that I, when I first started this job, I told you that I'm different, right, than my father, but one of the things that was very important to me was a deeper collaboration. We started that with sort of industry meetings a number of years ago when we had the Car of Tomorrow, all that stuff, to really bring the industry. Now it's very formalized. It goes from OEMs to track operators to drivers, of course, and we really need their input, and we get it. And we're going to do an industry summit here shortly in May around Charlotte. We're bringing in experts from different fields to interact with our council members and other members of the industry. So I think we're leading sports in that. I really do, and it's working because they know that when there's a really good idea that comes out of those council meetings, and our senior management, I'm there occasionally. Brent Doerr leads those, and they know that they're going to get to say, look, if you did it this way, everything would work better. And now, of course, we're always trying to get cost out of the system. That's going to be not a new push, but a more focused push as we go on. And I think that those council meetings and everything, that's my style. That's our style now. That's the new NASCAR. And we're not, we'll make tough decisions when we need to make them. We get tough with people when we have to. But we'd rather get better ideas and a better working relationship with our key stakeholders.
All right, we got a couple questions left. Let's go with Nate Ryan and Jerry Jordan.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Brian, I know you get asked about sponsorship all the time, so this is almost an annual thing. But I mean, the Dale Jr. situation, that there's uncertainty if Nationwide will return on the 88. There's some other big name drivers who are still trying to lock things down for next year. Stuart Haas has some inventory to sell. Bubba Wallace Jr. Isn't set past May. Danica Patrick obviously isn't set really for next year yet. Those are two diversity efforts there for the sport. Is there anything NASCAR needs to do, and are there any concerns on the sponsorship front as you have big personalities like Dale Jr., like Tony Stewart leaving, that you can maintain that influx of sponsorship?
Well, it's only April, so those kind of decisions from a corporate America typically get made in August and September, something like that. I know the team owners, obviously, I talked to Rick Hendrick the other day. He's already met with Nationwide as an example, and they understand the changes that are coming, and those are the kind of discussions team owners have with their sponsors. And if you go back in any of our pick a year, you'll always see somebody, and Richard Petty at one point, you'll always see somebody that why are they not doing well in that area for one reason or another? We always have that. That's not anything abnormal. It all gets worked out over time because the property still works in a way that for many companies that they can't do in any other sport. They can't own a team in any other sport, but they can here.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and Performance Racing Network. Brian, I know you have people that monitor this stuff for you with the numbers and attendance and things, but are you seeing, from your perspective, things in a positive direction going forward, and where would you like to see a change as you progress and talk about these the summit that you're talking about? How can you make fans more interactive with the sport?
Well, you obviously understand that the digital age is well within the present and the future, and so we're very focused on that. We're very focused on social. We're very focused on getting young fans. And by the way, this is interested in our sport. And by the way, that's not we're not isolated here. Every sport is trying to unlock the new consumption levels and fan interest by a younger demographic. Of course, we love our core fan, and everyone does, but every sport is thinking carefully of how to reach millennial fans to get them excited about their sport. And believe me, and I talked to all the commissioners at one point or another, they're all focused on that. And it's not easy, by the way, because things are dramatically changing, not just for our industry. You go back and you look at any patterns that are going on in just about every look at retail as an example. I'm just picking this up, where the shopping trends are now obviously online. It's changing the way retail. I mean, it's all over the place. So everybody, sports or otherwise, is taking it a very careful look, but it's changing fast. And we got great people and a great industry, so we will navigate it. But it'll take a while to figure that out, as it will for everybody else.
Listen, we're going to close it down to get ready for driver introductions, but real quick, Luke, any final words here? Big race fan? Yeah, you got anything to say? No? Look at.
It's the first time he's never said anything.
Yeah.
What about Joey?
Say what?
How do you think he's going to do today?
Terrible.
Why? You think he'd like that? You said that?
No.
You want to correct yourself?
Who do you want to win? Who do you want to win today?
Joey Logano.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Love it. Good. Hey, thank you all. Really appreciate the time on the fly here. Let's get a good race in. Good job.